What if you were to get really good about reading someone's mind to know exactly what they want? That's what we're discussing on this episode of the Business Coaching Success Podcast. Let's jump in. BJ O'Neill here with the Business Coaching Success Podcast. So glad you're here, where I share with you strategies, tools, and tips to be able to grow your business coaching practice to six figures and beyond as a Christian business coach. Let's jump in. Welcome to the Business Coaching Success Podcast. Mind games, cracking the code of coaching success. We talk all the time about the different strategies you need to do, types of ways that you can, generate leads, how to deliver value, give transformation, and so on. But there's a big one that is something that I would encourage you to study and to study really, really well. And that's all about how people think, how people are wired. And sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's easy. Everybody's different, but we can't make the mistake of not reading signals. Now, part of this, from a heart perspective, is having the desire to build a legitimate, authentic relationship with a prospect and a client for that matter. Because when there's a genuine effort and a desire to build relationship equity with them, it changes your behavior and exactly what and why you want to do it. Because if we run the risk and the mistake of simply only, I need a client, I want to get paid or whatever, like that's the byproduct of building legitimacy in a relationship. Well, one of those things that I would encourage you to go on a journey to learn is how people are wired, how people are, how they think, and then you shift how you respond to them. And this is something you got to learn. You don't learn it overnight. It's something I think that you'll be able to do on a consistent basis. Lots of resources, even with AI today. You can learn a lot about how people are thinking. I'm going to give you some examples so you really understand what I'm talking about as to why the importance of understanding a prospect, understanding a client. I'll be very clear here. What we are not a proponent of, and we don't want you to do, and I don't want you to do, is we're not talking about manipulation. All right? I'm not saying that some can, because I do think that can and sometimes can be done, is to manipulate others by utilizing themselves against themselves. We're not talking about that, all right, at all. We want to build a true relationship and understand them as to what makes them tick, to determine if there is a copacetic relationship here where we can help bring transformation and growing the profits of their business, okay? So very important to understand the distinctive difference, okay? So here are a few examples of the mind insights of people that really are at one level or another, their prospects or their clients. And when I go through these, it's going to give you some things to consider to start to recognize. And somebody's going to jump out and you're going to think, oh, you know what? Maybe that's why, this prospect or that is behaving this way or responding this way or whatever. What we want to make sure that we're not doing is just addressing and building relationships and never thinking about what is making them tick. If all we're doing is worrying about us and ourselves, and we're missing opportunity here. And it may be also the reason why some people don't call you back. Maybe the reason why people say no. This is a study. This is where you really want to make a significant difference in the lives of others and build a significant, long-lasting, sustainable coaching business. Learning about how people are wired is a critical component, all right? I'm going to give you some mind insights on different prospects. Number one, the safety brain, or I actually call it, and I got my notes here, the safety's first brain. These are the people that they're dealing oftentimes with uncertainty, all right? So what's happening is their brain is scanning around, and they're essentially saying subconsciously can I trust this person? And by the way, that trust factor that they're looking for may have nothing to do with the business. It could be the way that they were their background, trauma in their upbringing, their childhood. Like these things can affect all this kind of stuff, right? And so when you're looking for someone that you're getting signals that there's just a trust mechanism going on. And and oftentimes that's developed from the questions that they're asking and the types of questions that they're asking that's leading you to recognize, I don't know that they trust me enough, or they trust the process enough, or whatever it could be. That's just going to give us insights to understand, okay, this person's looking for trust. So in that case, you want to respond on how you're trustworthy and how they can trust the process, and to make them feel more comfortable and confident. So when we're dealing with somebody who's got that safety first mindset, we want to help them to find comfort. We want to help them to find confidence. Truthfully, I actually encourage more confidence than comfort, because comfort can have a lot of ambiguity. Confidence is where someone's, they're sitting up, they're strong, they get it, they're in it, that kind of thing. That's what we're helping them to be able to do. All right. That's the safety first brain. The next brain is then what's in it for me brain. Okay. This is somebody who's kind of like, all right, but what am I going to get out of this? It's a very, it's part of human nature. We're born selfish. Ever since the apple was bitten, we are a selfish creature out of nature. And they really, oftentimes these folks are what's in it for me. These are the folks that look for discounts. They want to hear something that's connecting back, but what am I going to get out of it, right? This goes beyond just growing the profitability for their business. So for instance, when we are in using the assessment in our done for you tools that we have that all of our coaches use in our coaching community for Business Coach Mastery, we have an assessment that walks and guides a prospect to finding profitability, focusing on multiple strategies for small incremental percentage increases through those multiple strategies. So even though we're visibly showing how we can help grow the business, sometimes that person is like, yeah, but how's this going to affect me, right? And so that's what you're looking for. So they get more freedom for themselves, right? They're able to potentially hire another person so that they don't have to do some of the grunt work that they're doing right now. You want to connect back to the elements that they want to hear what they're going to personally get out of it. That is what's in it for me. Then you have the brain that's the confirmation bias brain, right? This is somebody is they're wanting to hear confirmation on what they already believe. Here's some signals that you can see on that. So I'll use my example again for us in the us meaning our coaching team. When we're going through an assessment, if we're picking up from a prospect, yep, you know what? I kind of assumed that. That's what I've always thought. I kind of have been feeling that way. If you're hearing those kinds of words, they're looking for confirmation, and you want to confirm you're right. What you are thinking, you're correct. How you felt about that, you're exactly right on the money. You're headed in the right direction. That's what those signals are giving you, is that they're wanting to confirm. And it's important to kind of make sure that you're not connecting the dots to the wrong person, right? And part of this is practice. Part of this is just the element of learning. Part of this is just kind of figuring it out. Some people are very easy to read. Some people others are not easy to read. That's just the process of just talking to people, developing that skill, paying attention, and on and on and on. Before I give you the last two brains, if you will, that we're going to talk about, I do want to tell you, so you heard me talk about our done-for-you systems and tools. If you're looking to build a business coaching practice, you love helping people, you want to make a good living, you want flexibility and freedom to be able to do it the way you want to do it, I encourage you, go to businesscoachmastery.com. That's businesscoachmastery.com. You can get some information there. You'll talk about all of our systems and tools that we give you, software, resources, tools, training, community support, the whole 9 yards. That way you can determine if it's worth learning more about or not. If you want to schedule a time there, you can do that there as well. businesscoachmastery.com. Okay. We've gone through the confirmation bias brain. We've gone through what's in it for me brain. We've gone through the safety first brain. 2 more I'm going to give you today. And prayerfully, you're starting to recognize, wait, I see opportunity here. That's what I'm hoping that you're getting out of this. I see opportunity. I'm not paying attention to what they're getting. I'm just kind of going through the motions of what I'm doing. All right. So then we have the emotional decision maker brain. Lots of people fall into this category, truthfully. The emotional decision maker brain, right? Because the reality is most people, not all, but most people buy based upon emotion. They buy based upon how they feel. All right. Here's another example of what that could look like. Again, using the analogy of the assessment tool that we utilize at Business Coach Mastery. I can't tell you how many times I'm walking a couple, meaning a couple who owns a business. They've gone through challenges. They've had a number of things. They've tried different things. It's not working. We walk them through this process, and the spouse begins to cry, or both of them for that matter. They tear up, and they're like, man, we've been doing a lot of stuff, but we're just not doing the wrong things. And holy smokes, I see opportunity here. And they begin to tear up and they begin to get connected in that way. That's the emotional there. It's not even just about all of the X's and O's. Their heart is in it. Remember, this business is their baby. Like they love their business just like a child. And so they're emotionally connected. So when you see that, frustration. If you see you're working with a prospect and there's frustration, that is the emotions that they're going through and that they're walking through. And so when you can help give them and connect back to how it's going to help them feel better, you want to paint a picture of what their life could look like in working with you. You want to paint a picture of how wonderful it's going to be when they're able to double their profits, when they're able to, earn more income. They can expand the business. Maybe they've had a desire. They wanted to expand it, but they haven't been able to do so because there's not been enough meat on the bone. This is the way you're able to paint that picture. The last one is the social proof brain. This is someone who is kind of just looking for, what are other people getting from results with working with you? And it oftentimes the social proof brain is connected to the safety first brain. Now, this is a tricky one, if you ask me. It's more about, hey, here's what other people are saying about me. But the testimonial thing, honestly, is falling apart. Lots of people don't believe them anymore. Lots of people don't engage with it anymore because the internet has abused this and just made up a lot of testimonies that don't really work. So what you're able to do, however, is bring people into your community so that they meet somebody else. You know what I mean? If you are running if you're running a workshop, if you're running a group, if you have like a leads group or whatever, bring them into that process. Let them connect and get to know other people. That shake hands or whatever so they can recognize others that know you. Trust and leverage is important, right? And so helping them to know not so much how you help transform and bring money to somebody else, because that's a slippery slope. I don't love doing that because just because you help one in a certain way doesn't mean you'll do the same thing for another for 1,000 different variables. But what they're actually wanting more than anything else, can I trust you? Well, let them connect with somebody else who knows you well so that they could talk good about you, right? Now, what we've seen over time in monitoring this and measuring this is that there's more people that sit in the emotional decision brain, okay? And as well as the safety first brain than anything else. Doesn't mean that you're not going to connect with the others. The bigger point is you want to study and understand the nuances of how people are wired. What do they want? What makes them tick? How can you get on the same page of helping them find transformation? Lots of ways you can do that. You can study books, reports, different things. DISC assessment. I'm a fan of the DISC assessment. Super helpful. To be able to begin to read what other people are, why they're saying it. And it's fun because over time, you can even tell how someone's wired by how they walk. Crazy, I know, but it's really, really true. Make this part of your journey in building your business coaching practice. Learning others and how they're wired will transform your practice and how you connect to others. And here's what will happen. They're going to walk away getting to know you. As they're getting to know you, they're going to walk away going, man, BJ really gets me. I feel good about being around them. Like every conversation I have with them is just pure joy. Well, that's because you're working hard at connecting with them based upon how they're wired. All right. Until next time, take care.